Now, it's time for Taking the Mic. It will soon be 6 months since the dreadful events of October the 7th plunged the Middle East into its worst state of instability for decades. The brutal and horrific attacks by Hamas on that fateful day were condemned by everyone who had an ounce of humanity. But of course, there were a few notable exceptions. Some of them were where you would expect them to be. Who can forget the crowds of men gathered in Gaza as the terrorists returned from their raid on a music festival and a peace-loving kibbutz with their treasure, half-naked young women in the back of pickup trucks, their bodies twisted and injured from the brutal assaults on them? Who can forget those same crowds cheering, chanting and spitting on the bodies of the young women as they were paraded in the streets? There were similarly cheers in Lebanon, in Syria and in Iran. These were the same places where there were cheers and celebrations when 9/11 happened and thousands of innocent people were killed in New York when the terrorists flew planes into buildings. One place where you might not expect that reaction, though, is the BBC. That's the British Broadcasting Corporation, an organisation that is sadly now so lost that it is regularly accused of anti-Semitism. Today, I'm afraid, is no exception, because a Tory MP is calling for 2 journalists to be suspended because they shared anti-Israel posts and liked videos praising the Hamas attacks. We've reported on these 2 BBC Arabic journalists before. Marie Jose Al-Azi described Israel as a terrorist state in a now-deleted tweet, and Soha Ibrahim liked a post on social media on October the 7th, which celebrated, in their words, the first of the martyrs of the operation. She also liked video images of people dancing and waving Palestinian flags in Lebanon and Tunisia, and even Egyptian football fans chanting, "We sacrifice our souls and our blood for Palestine." Ibrahim, based in London, has been working for the BBC for 12 years. I wonder if she's ever been on any pro-Palestine marches, which of course would be pretty ironic, given that the BBC actually asked its own staff not to attend an anti-Semitism vigil in the capital a couple of months ago. Al-Azi is based in Lebanon and has posted anti-Israeli tweets since before she worked there in 2019. Well, now Nicola Richards, Tory MP for West Bromwich East and an officer for the Conservative Friends of Israel, has called for both of them to be suspended while the BBC investigates. Though quite what they need to investigate isn't very clear, and why they haven't already been suspended is quite baffling. All of this comes only a few weeks after a BBC 3 producer was fired when a string of hate-filled and anti-Semitic Facebook posts was uncovered. And it is set against the background of Jewish employees saying that they feel uncomfortable even going into work at the BBC now. Jeremy Bowen, the once respected chief foreign correspondent, is on record for saying he didn't regret a report in which he wrongly accused Israel of bombing a hospital in Gaza, even though it had the effect of triggering anti-Semitism around the world. And of course, John Simpson, their senior reporter, still says the BBC is completely correct not to call Hamas a terrorist organisation. The BBC still has a duty to report the truth, not propaganda. These 2 journalists have no business being there.